When I first came here, I was on a working holiday visa. Very quickly, I realized I'm not good at working for other companies. I'm going to learn how to do e-commerce and build websites. Japan has this image of, it's a really expensive place to live actually, but I mean, really, it's not. I lived in Toronto before coming to Japan, and I was a professional musician mainly. So a day in my life, load up my car, drive to the gig however many hours early, get there, talk to who I need to talk to, set up what I need to set up, and then usually just sit around and wait. A lot of my socializing was work, but didn't feel like work as much because you're hanging out with friends and you're all kind of in the same circle. And I had a hard time seeing where else I could go. Even though I was happy at the time with what I was doing, I didn't know how sustainable it was long term. When I first came here, I was on a working holiday visa, which basically means I can come here for 1 year and I can work or travel, do whatever unrestricted for 1 year. So my thinking was, okay, I have some money saved up. If I come here and it doesn't work out, I can just go back and then, it's not going to be a big hit to me. Even if I come here and I don't know anyone, I don't speak the language well, all of these other things, it's just going to be a good experience. It's either going to be a really long vacation, which is fine, or I'm going to like it and stay longer, which will come with its own challenges. I feel like I do a lot these days. I am teaching English, which I've been doing for the past 5 years because it gives me a visa to stay here, and I enjoy it. I've got some really great students, so that's nice. You're kind of limited as a non-Japanese person to either integrating really hard into Japanese society, being really good at the language and having a normal job, which I'm not good at, or you got to kind of make your own path, which has kind of been the way I do things anyway. So I decided, I'm going to learn how to do e-commerce and build websites. So I've been doing that as well, and I've had a couple websites going. And then recently, the past 2 years, I've also been starting to buy properties here in Japan. So Japan's kind of famous for these old akiyas, which are these old abandoned properties that are really cheap. The whole idea is that in Japan, properties lose value. Compared to a lot of other places in the world where they go up and up, they go down here. So there's an opportunity for me to buy properties that most people don't want here in Japan because they're losing their value. And I can renovate them and give them new life again, especially the cool old Japanese buildings that have beautiful old wooden beams. I love that stuff. So the goal is to find these properties that need some love, give them some love, and then either rent them out to, whoever wants to rent them, but I kind of like to rent to non-Japanese people just because it's so hard for non-Japanese people to actually find a place to live in Japan. There's a lot of limited options and a lot of barriers that make it tough. So if I can make that easier and give them a nice, interesting place to live, all the better. And then another side of it is some properties my wife and I have been looking at and we're thinking of renovating into kind of cafe style things. Because Japan's actually got a really big culture of kind of these side jobs where people have these hobbies of I want to start a bakery, but they never make the full leap. So if we can build a space where people can have a bakery for a weekend or a week at a time, kind of do pop-up shop cafe style. So as an example, the most expensive property I bought here was probably about, at the time I bought it, probably about 20,000 US dollars, we'll say. I feel like ideas are never in short supply. It's the action that's always the difficult thing. some of it is I grab onto something like, oh, this is interesting and I don't know about it, so I'll want to learn more. And then by researching that thing, you start stumbling down this whole rabbit hole of all of these other things. And I don't know, there's some saying that like there's no such thing as like a new invention. You're just like iterating on other people's ideas. You take a bit of this and a bit of this and you put it together and you've got something kind of new. It's like, oh, I'm aware of this one thing. Here's this other thing. Oh, is there some way that the two of them can kind of go together, and like, why not? With what I'm doing now, I can cover all my expenses, which is great. That's another nice thing about me living in Japan is Japan has this image of, oh, it's a really expensive place to live actually, but I mean, really it's not. Like, unless you're living downtown Tokyo or something like that, it's really like a reasonable place to live. So the way I've been managing my finances here is that my English teaching actually has been my living money. So even though I do that kind of part-time, it's enough that I can pay for my rent, pay for food, and kind of get by in Japan. Not saving a whole lot, but I'm getting by fine. And then all of the stuff that comes from my online businesses or from like the apartment I'm renting or the other ones I will be renting, I'm kind of using that money to try and make more money or build other things that will give me a little more freedom down the line. It's been really hectic recently just because in the past 3 months I think I bought 4 properties, so that's been like a lot to manage. But doing all of that now and using anything that comes from that, we can put that towards properties that we can have people renting them and can give other people a good life. We're trying to build these businesses. The one I'm most excited about is like our website where we're taking kimono fabrics and making like new kind of modern clothing with them. If we can put money into that now and invest our time and energy into that now, like that could be great for our family as far as building like a nice business that we care about, because my wife loves kimonos and I love it. But we can also like hire people here in Japan and like contribute to the community also as well, instead of just having our own business. If someone wants to come to Japan, like, you should do it. Like, it's a really great place. I mean, there's difficulties living here. I think it's probably one of the best places to visit on vacation. It's also a great place to live, though. I think the challenge is that a lot of people come here to live, and there are some difficulties. But if you just want to experience it, do it. Like, there's no issues. You can come here, especially if you speak English. Getting an English teaching job is really easy. It's a really easy way to come here. Depending on what other stuff you want to do, like if you can get a working holiday visa, do it. Super easy to do. The one thing I will say about people wanting to come to Japan and thinking about how could I stay here long term, there's a lot of things, of course, I miss here, but there's a lot of things that I think are great about Canada that I don't see here. And I'm sure there's a lot of things about wherever you live or wherever anyone lives that are natural to you and you do there but are not widely found here in Japan. And that's an opportunity for you. It's very normal for people to do that in Canada, where it's normal in Japan to tear it down and build a new one. So that's an opportunity for me. Another example with Kimono Koi, which is our like kimono brand thing. A lot of people in Japan see old kimonos, they just want to throw them away, and I think, oh, that's wasteful. Like in Canada, we like to reuse stuff more. And I know English, and I know how to talk to people in other countries, which most people in Japan can't do as well. That's an opportunity for me. Like another totally random opportunity is if you're someone from Mexico and you can cook Mexican food. There's not a lot of Mexican restaurants here in Japan, and I miss them. So you can come to Japan and start a Mexican restaurant, and that's an opportunity for you because it's not widely found here. But wherever you're from, it's super normal. And you think, oh, I can't do that. That's like everyone else is doing that. It's something special here. And if you can think about what you have from where you are that's special, and you really want to live here, that's kind of a good chance for you to like actually build something here that's unique to you. You've already got a leg up on most people here, and it's a nice way that you can be rewarded for like doing what you love or what's natural for you.